Last week, Statistics Canada reported the lowest homicide rate in almost 50 years. Canada's murder rate today is only half of what it was in 1975. U.S. murder rates are also about half of what they were just 20 years ago. Criminologists have argued over why we appear to be becoming a less violent society, but one factor that's been overlooked is the impact of modern medicine. Evan Dyer reports.
Industrial Avenue, Ottawa, one Monday morning last month. A man is shot outside this restaurant by two different people with large caliber handguns. He was struck by 6 bullets. Within minutes, the man is on his way to the Ottawa hospital, where he's treated by trauma surgeon Jacinthe Lampron.
So there's a fracture here from this bullet, and there's another bullet here. He also had one very close to his head that we don't see on the x-ray. So that patient, after a few minutes of resuscitation, went to the operating room to have this bone fixed, washout and extraction of the bullet.
So would you expect him to make a full recovery and to be up and walking around?
He's probably up and walking, I have no doubt of that.
The young man who survived that shooting was lucky. 20 or 30 years ago, he might very well have become another homicide statistic. But this shooting will count merely as an attempted murder or aggravated assault because the victim was saved.
There's no doubt, like I said, I think there is some medical care that's helping some people live that maybe wouldn't have seen live before.
When Don Sweet became an investigator, Canada's murder rate was about twice what it is now. Ottawa averaged just over 12 murders a year in the 90s, 10 murders a year in the decade following, and is down to 9 a year since 2010, even as the city's population has grown.
I like to think we take some of the credit for that. I think we're pretty good at investigating, maybe interdicting and stopping some of these things from occurring. There's a lot more tools in our tool belt that might have been out there before.
But Sweet knows police aren't the only factor.
I know on the battlefield they're surviving injuries now that they never would have survived before. There's no reason to doubt that technology is not crept into our hospitals. I know in America they send some of their military to some of the inner urban hospitals for the shootings to get the training when they go out, so and vice versa. So there's no doubt there's some training that's come back.
No one personifies that better than Dr. Lampron, who worked as a trauma surgeon with Canadian forces in Kandahar.
Almost every war brought the medicine higher up. Second World War brought the blood transfusion. Korean, you mentioned helicopter, but also brought fluid resuscitation. I would say the last war, Iraq and Afghanistan, probably brought what we call the massive transfusion protocol.
It's not only hospitals. Paramedics are better trained and, above all, faster in getting to the ER. The new philosophy is called scoop and go instead of stay and play. The vast majority of patients who arrive alive at a level 1 trauma center like this one will survive. But while there are fewer deaths, Dr. Lampron doesn't believe it's because of a decrease in violence.
I would say over the year in general, there's more penetrating as well as gunshot coming through the door. I think there's more violent action towards people that may not necessarily die, but I feel violence is going up in this city.
In fact, almost the only kind of violent crime that's more prevalent now than a decade ago is the most serious kind of assault. The kind of assault that a generation ago might very well have been a murder. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.